What's up, crew? Welcome back to the Nate the Great YouTube channel. Just got out here, started my walk this morning, and the rain just started pouring down. But guess what? This is my non-negotiable. This is day 7 of my sugar fasting protocol. I'm really excited. Look up here on the screen, 201.1. No. So we weighed in this morning, 201. I'm really excited. I'm so close to that 199. Never been there before. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm just through the moon right now. I'm out here. It's starting to sprinkle. So if you start seeing water come across the screen, it is what it is, right? We're out here doing it. I'm just trying to avoid the lightning because it sounded mean. I wanted to quickly touch base on a comment that I got on one of my videos, and then maybe go on a little bit of a rant about that, give you some updates on me, and then zoom back to home base, where I want to talk to you a little bit about how to start troubleshooting any kind of issues that you may have with your health. All right, so let's just pull up this comment up here, something along the lines of, who's paying you for pushing this agenda, right? And I had to laugh, right? And I responded like, oh, of course, big sugar. But let's be honest, I have no intent, or even, it's not even on my roadmap for this year or next year to even entertain any sponsors on this channel. This is just a brand new channel. I'm just sharing my experiences, trying to help maybe just at least one other person figure out a different path forward for however they want to solve their health issues. And yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that I don't have any sponsors. If I ever do have a sponsor on this channel, it'll go through a rigorous process of making sure that I actually use the product or service, and it's something that I would actually use and endorse. So to that end, I don't have any sponsors. So getting back to this comment, right? I immediately made some inferences about this person. I said they're probably from Bart K's community, because that's a super toxic, not narrow-minded, just closed off, just visceral community of carnivore ketos. And the person was keto carnivore. So then I clicked through, and of course, right? You're in the cult, man. And know what? I was in that cult a year, or for a long time, up to about a month and a half ago. So I know exactly where you're at, right? You think, oh man, they're pushing all this new sugar agenda because they're getting all sponsored by a listing. Never mind the irony, the thick irony of the fact that all of your influencers, all of your authority figures in the carnivore keto space, they just happen to have all their supplement, Butcher Box or all these other things that, buy my stuff, right? The carnivore is the only way to go. Buy my Butcher Box. Okay. You're not hearing your own self think, all right? Look at yourself in the mirror and ask that same question to your people. And so I always have 4 things to anybody out there, carnivore, keto, whatever. If you're in a stall, here's my things. And Cole brings this up quite a bit, right? What's your scale look like? Are you losing weight? What's your cholesterol look like? How's your doctor visits, and how's that blood work working out for you? How's your thyroid function? And how is your metabolism? Are you eating 1,200 calories and still not losing any weight? That's weird. Maybe it's something to do with your diet. Maybe it's the fact that your carnivore keto thing is also not that great long term. And I've never said that the sugar fasting protocol should be done long term. It's a short term stressor on your body. It should only be short term, because as you know, everything, it should be in equilibrium. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. As soon as I hit ONEderland, I'm gonna be adding in lean meats. I'm gonna start adding in other varieties of foods. I'm trying to maintain my weight while I build muscle. That's gonna be my second phase. So getting back to that comment, it's really ironic that you just have this visceral lashing out, even at small creators like myself that are just starting on this platform. And it's just discouraging, because there's so many people caught up in that whirlwind where they just get told how to think, and they can't think for themselves. They're stalled at 250 pounds. Their cholesterol's through the roof, and they're being told, hey, you're healing. It's fine. You're fine. This is just normal, right? And it's like, no, it's not normal. And being at a large weight and being stalled on carnivore and having a high cholesterol and your thyroid function is destroyed and your metabolism's tanked, that's not normal, okay? And if I can help just one person get out of that rat race, that cult, I'm all in, right? So let me digress. So this channel really isn't going to be about sugar fasting forever and ever, right? I'm on my marathon training protocol. I just finished up my 2nd week yesterday. So I'm going to be covering a lot about my marathon journey. This is something that I've been wanting to do for over 20 years. and I'm doing it. And that's what I'm talking about. This channel is more about my journey on doing things that are hard and that are scary. And heck, starting the channel to begin with is actually pretty scary. So I'm on my marathon journey. I'll be providing more information. Also, I know I've talked about just briefly on some of my videos that I teach karate. And here's the fun fact. I'm not a black belt yet. In fact, I'm a full red belt, which means coming up in December, I will be eligible to test for my black belt test. We do this twice a year, and the next cycle is actually next Saturday, not this following Saturday, but June 7th. And we'll be closed for 4 hours. We close out through the whole day. We have 3 candidates going up, and they're awesome kids. They're all in their, teens to late teens, and they're going for their black belt test. And they've been practicing and practicing for months and months, conditioning, everything. And I'll be going on that same journey right behind them. I know it's kind of weird that an instructor is teaching and they're not a black belt, but I've done karate in the past, and so I didn't want to just leapfrog in front of everybody and then I wanted to start straight from white all the way up to black, because that journey is more important than the destination for me. So that's another thing that I'm going to be covering in length and in depth is my karate journey, what it's about. How did I become an adjunct instructor, karate instructor? I just kind of fell into that. I want to talk about all of that. I'm going to zoom back to the home base, and I want to talk a little bit about how to troubleshoot anything in your life, specifically around health or weight or certain like that. Not necessarily like the specific things, because obviously everybody's unique and different and everybody has different circumstances. So I can't obviously troubleshoot anything, but I'll just give you some tools, some mindset pieces to maybe start the journey of how to figure out going about troubleshooting. And let's talk about my previous video where I added 2 variables into the mix, right? I added a new stand where I was holding the phone in a different orientation, and I also added the microphone. And it turns out that when you add in 2 variables, guess what? When you're trying to troubleshoot, because that video has a bunch of clanking and the audio is still terrible, and so that's the first mistake that I made. And so I'll talk about that a little bit at home base here. Hopefully I don't get zapped by anything here. The rain seems to be consistent but not aggressive. So anyways, hope everybody is having a good day. I'll see you back at home base. Bye. All right, guys, welcome back to home base. And now let's get into talking about troubleshooting, specifically around how to go about starting the process of troubleshooting. So if you look at all my previous videos, I do actually post up every day all of the things that I eat in that day, to include when I eat, how much I eat, etc. And I know a lot of people are discouraged from tracking their food or intake because it's stressor. So it is actually a really big stressor, and it's something that I've understood that a lot of people don't like doing it because it just adds a lot of extra noise to their already stressful day when it comes to needing to track everything they're eating. But I find that as you are trying to troubleshoot, and let's talk specifically around weight loss, but it could be really anything on your health journey when you're trying to isolate things. And I always try to default back to, if you're running into issues, if you're not losing weight, if you're not progressing on whatever health metric you're looking to do, more data is going to be better than no data. So from my point of view, if you do find yourself in a stall situation where you're no longer losing weight, I would just implore you, take a small amount of time, 2 or 3 a week if you can, and track everything you're eating. Because sometimes the people that I've helped, or at least coached a little bit just on the side here, is they go, I think I'm eating too much. And I go, well, track. And they find out they're actually eating way too much, because they're not accounting for all the small little pieces, like the dips, all of the, creamers, all these things. They add up really, really fast. And again, if your only goal is weight loss and you're just looking to lose weight, obviously you need to be in a calorie deficit. And if you're eating too much, your body is going to store the excess. It's just how it works, right? So first and foremost, try to incorporate more data, gather the data, and then figure out from there what to do next. Second piece I would like to talk about is this. Try to standardize your intake. So for a couple of days, try to eat at the same time, eat the same amount of meals, and eat the same types of meals. Why? Because you're trying to eliminate variables. Just like I mentioned on my last little bit there on the walk before the lightning started to pop off, which is this. When I added 2 variables into this video, my last video, not only did the audio not pick up correctly, there was a clanking sound, right? And so when you're trying to figure out the root cause of any problem, you need to try to isolate each variable as much as you can. Eating the same thing at the same time and generally having the same thing over and over for a few days is going to help standardize that process. So then as you start taking things out or adding things to, you can see how that correlates and causes the change that you're looking for. So in my specific example, when I had my celebration day, I gained 10 pounds, right? From 201 all the way up to 211. And this last week, I've been shedding that weight back off. I've been very consistent with my meals and timing wise and just essentially what I'm eating, etc. Because if the scale's not moving, if the scale stalls, and again, I want to clarify what a stall is. A stall is not just 1 or 2 days at the same weight. A stall is multiple days, if not a week or more of no progress on the scale, and you're not seeing any recomp, you're not seeing any NSVs or non-scale victories, right? You're not seeing anything tangible from a health improvement standpoint. That's really when you hit the stall mark. And that's when you really need to buckle down, gather that data, isolate the variables, and try to figure out what's causing that issue. So some people may, balloon up when they eat a specific vegetable, right? Those types of things, water retention, it's all real. It all goes to your mind. It all goes to your mental state. If you're weighing on the scale and you're 2-3 pounds up, even though you did everything right that week, it just demoralizes you. And so instead of trying to do the same thing over and over again and getting getting a different result, you try to keep everything the same and change just a little bit of something and see if that works. I think one of my examples on my yesterday video is this. Let's say you start the sugar fasting protocol. I've had a couple people approach me like, how do I start this, right? I need prescription. And it's just like, all right, well, let's start here. Let's start where you're at. First, what's your goals? What are you wanting to accomplish? Or is it just weight? Is it building muscle? Is it maintaining muscle? Why you lose weight? Those all things have more things to add. So if you want to maintain your weight, you have to do some kind of resistance training. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be a big gym session where you go in there and lift heavy weights for 45 minutes. You can just do some body weight stuff for 10, 15 minutes. Just make it intentional, and that will potentially help you not lose as much muscle mass. That being said, as you lose weight, you're going to lose muscle mass. It's a ratio that you're really worried about. And that's another thing that I wanted to kind of point out is, when you're trying to troubleshoot a problem, try to objectify it as much as possible. Get out of the feeling state. That comment that I got about who's pushing the sugar agenda, right? That's a feeling. That person is coming at me in a direction from a feeling of, I know the answer and you are wrong. It's a feeling because it's their opinion. They don't know who I am. They don't know where I've come from. They don't know that I was 335 pounds and I lost over 100 pounds on exactly their protocol, carnivore keto. It works. And I will continue to point out that it works really, really well. But guess what? I stalled out. My thyroid function, my metabolism tanked. And I kept trying to do the same thing over and over, and I kept expecting different results, and I kept getting the same results. My energy was tanked. I'd have to consume 2 to 3, not cups, pots of coffee, black coffee, every single day. I had to supplement every single meal, every water. I had to dump salt in there because I was constantly I didn't have it in my body. It just kept going and going, right? That's just not good overall. And if you think that's the proper human diet, or if you think that's the right way we've evolved to eat, listen, it does work, but it should be done in small spurts. And then you move on to something else. And then you move back and you move back and forth. Ketones. This is what I always keep coming back to that in that comment, which is this. Let's see your ketone strips. You know what? I will show you if you commit, if any of these people that are coming to this channel or any other sugar fasting channel and just being absolutely closed-minded and visceral and like, oh, I know better, I'm the authority and I have all the science behind me. All right, show me your ketone strips. All right. A month ago, right before I started switching to the sugar fasting, guess what my fasting glucose was? 65. Was your fasting glucose that low? You know what my ketones were? 4.3. That's a GKI of about less than 1, maybe. Probably less than 1. If I'm talking about Dr. Boz ratio, I'm in the teens, maybe. Do you know, you don't understand that I already know, I've already been there. I know about these things, right? So let me get right back into the troubleshooting piece. The last piece that I wanted you to talk about is this: be patient. And I know you're healing, right? If you're in the carnivore space, like, oh, don't worry, you're stalled out and you're healing. But listen, don't accept that narrative. Don't be like, okay, I'm stalled out for a couple months. I'm going to keep doing the same thing, keep doing the same. I just have to double down. I just have to triple down. I just have to do it better. I have to be more disciplined. I have to do everything better. And it's like, why don't you just try something different? And that's where I think you need to do. Because what happens is people, they'll jump on, they'll say, hey, I'm stalling out. And then they'll try to change everything, right? And then it might work. It does. Again, changing everything, changing a diet, whatever, that might work. And you might start seeing progress. And to that end, cool. But then if you hit another stall, are you going to just keep jumping back and forth? You can do that, right? And to some degree, that's kind of what I've done as well. But I did it in a measured approach where I'm like, let me just try this, dabble in it, see if it works. And then just once I understand how the tool, form the tool, and then put the tool back in my tool belt, I'm ready to put that sugar fasting tool belt back in my tool belt and pull back out my carnivore tool, because I love eating meat. I have ribeye sitting in my freezer right now that are calling my name. And you know what? I want to eat those, and I'm going to eat those. And I think that's the most important part of this entire thing, which is this. When you find yourself finally breaking through, if it be isolating variables, tracking the data, and then being patient, and then not changing protocols so quickly, so rapidly, just to try and get the next result, just focus on yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't make it to where it's, oh, I see somebody on the internet and they're ripped and they're doing all this crazy stuff and I can't do any of that. This is your health journey. This is your life, and you're unique. Your circumstances are unique to you. So just take your time trying to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then slowly adjust and find things that do work. And just remember that everything that you're doing outside of a normal standard diet where you're just eating, you're regulating your intake, that works for some people. For me, that was a really hard thing for me to do. When I ate food that I really liked, I'd overeat that. And I had a lot of trouble with that. And you can shame me and say, oh, you just need to have better self-control. Fine. But then you don't know my history with how I was brought up, my relationship with food. You don't know all these things. And to that end, you're just judging just to win the moment, win the argument. But you don't actually want to help me. You just want to be the authority figure where you're the right person and I'm the wrong person. So anyways, I don't want this video to get too long. Hope everybody's having a nice day. I'm under the canopy because the rain and storming is popping off. But anyways, let's stick it out there together. Let's keep our open mind. Let's continuously evolve and keep to try to help each other rather than put each other down in little boxes and tell each other that you're not good enough. All right, everybody, have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one.